Hello, YouTube parents. I wanted to say welcome, and I imagine you have clicked on this video because you are at your end. You have kids that are on the screens hours a day. They're looking at things that you don't even understand, and you need some help. This video is for you. Let me start off by saying this video is for iPhones. I've demonstrated on an iPhone 8, but I believe it works the same for most other models of iPhones and probably for iPads as well. I like to keep my YouTube videos short and to the point because who has time for nearly endless commentary? But please understand, there's a lot of content here. I will take you through every step of setting up screen time on iPhones. It will be weighty, but I did my best not to use two words when one would do. Now, the initial disclaimer, this video is for very conservative parents. If your parenting style is carefree and accommodating to your children's wishes and desires, this is not the video for you. Let me repeat, this is not the video for you. You can raise your children however you choose, but of course, so can I. I'm concerned about the purity of my son. Via his phone, he has virtually unlimited access to violence, gambling, addictive video games, pornography, etc., etc., etc. I have enough trouble teaching him right from wrong and to respect myself and my wife or his mom. I don't need any further hindrance via his smartphone. However, I'm not naive. I understand that literally every other kid his age has a smartphone. I do not want him to be ostracized. I want him to be able to text and call his friends, take photos, take videos, and FaceTime with his grandparents who live in other states and actually even other countries. I also want the ability to locate him at any time. Some of you might say, "You've got to be kidding me. You mean you don't allow your son to access unlimited apps and video games?" I sure don't. In fact, if there was a phone with a touchscreen that allowed only talking and texting, I'd buy that phone immediately. To this day, I've never found it. In this video, I hope to make limiting your child's smartphone use very easy for you. Let's get started. First of all, I don't let my son know the passcode to his iPhone. Now, when I say passcode, I don't mean the screen time passcode. I mean the code you enter to get into your phone at the start. I allow him fingerprint recognition, but don't give him the password. This enables me to ground him from his phone and know he won't be able to get into it. This is because iPhone requires passcode verification whenever the phone is turned off and turned back on. When I ground him, I simply turn off his phone. Easy enough. Now, to begin, you want to push the settings icon, scroll down to screen time, and tap that. You then tap the turn on screen time. You now see a basic outline of screen time. Tap continue. Here's where I need to be clear. I set up this iPhone as my iPhone. I don't want to have 10 requests from my son every hour I'm at work asking me to give him more screen time or allow this or that app or whatever. I want the controls to be static. So, tap "This is my iPhone." You'll now see a list of things you can control. This is really up to you and what you want to do. But I'm going to take you through how I set up my son's iPhone. The first rule of screen time is that you don't talk about screen time. Just kidding. For those of you who get that reference, you understand the smut that's in my brain and what I'm trying to protect my son from. No, really, the first and most important thing is to turn on a passcode. Tap use screen time password. You can't see it here because I've already set up my password, and I don't feel compelled to let everyone who sees this video also see me enter my Apple ID and that password. However, I will briefly explain the steps you follow on your phone. It will ask you to set up a screen time password. You enter that twice. Whatever you do, understand that kids who want to look up bad stuff on the internet are incredibly smart and cunning. You know you have children. Let me assure you, they will guess easy passwords. It's just in their DNA. Also, a word to the wise, or desirous to be wise parents. Make sure that whenever you enter that passcode, that you are in another room outside of their view. These little ruffians can see a password across the room, in the dark, at zero gravity. Look, if they find out what the password is, it upsets the whole Apple cart. Before you know it, they've had their screen time passcode for 2 months, and you wondered why they never came out of their room. I might speak from experience. Humbug. It will then ask you to establish your screen time passcode recovery. You do this by entering your Apple ID and password. In this area of fingerprint recognition and facial recognition, please don't forget your Apple ID and password. You might need a link sent to you to reset the screen time passcode if you forget it. I found out the hard way that if you enter a screen time password incorrectly 10 times, it completely shuts down the phone and does a factory reset. Boy howdy, that was a pain in my rear. I'm sure this is to protect your data/phone from people who would steal it, but the pain in my rear abides still. Again, doing this from memory, I believe you are then taken back to the main screen time page. Now here's where we really begin. Tap downtime. It should prompt you to enter your screen time password. Of course, do that. You can customize this however you would like. I chose to set my son's downtime from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Go back to the main screen time page by tapping the back arrow in the upper left-hand corner. Now tap App Limits. Tap Add Limit. I allow my son access to all apps and categories for 2 hours per day. That seems like a lot, you might say. Again, if he wants to take pictures and text his friends and call his friends and talk to his grandparents on FaceTime, I really don't care. I'm all for good communication and healthy friendships. It's the other stuff I'm concerned about. Now, if you have a really texty son or daughter, obviously limit that. Set your screen time limit as you choose. Then, make sure to toggle the block at end of limit to on. If you don't do this, I think it allows the kiddos to ignore app limits. My kids ignore me enough as it is. I don't want them ignoring my app limits. Press Add. Tap the back arrow to go to this main screen time page. Tap Communication Limits. This allows you to know who your child is texting. I made Max add a contact for every friend he has. I also talk to him about those friends and ask him if there are people who make him want to be a better person. Help your kids pick their friends. The data is overwhelming that they will be like their friends. They won't be like you. Under Allow Communication, tap During Screen Time. Again, you can do whatever you want, but I only allow Max to talk to his contacts and groups with at least one contact. That way I can always trace the source and go straight to parents if I see any of these text conversations going awry. Tap the back arrow to go back to communication limits. During downtime, I always want Max to have the ability to text important emergency contacts. That way, if he is in a situation after downtime hours in which he needs our help, he can still get a hold of us. Tap During Downtime. I allow communication only with specific contacts. I don't want him to be group chatting at 1 o'clock in the morning. I chose to allow myself, my wife, and Max's sister as those allowed people. Tap the back arrow once. I also allowed Max to edit his own contacts. I don't see a problem with that. Tap back one more time to go to the screen time main page. Now tap Always Allowed. At the top, for some reason, it shows allowed contacts again. I really don't know why. Under Allowed Apps, pick the ones you like. Obviously, if you are commandeering your child's phone for the first time, you'll probably see a ton more apps than I have in my list. I deleted most every app off Max's phone because I don't like the idea of companies spying on my kids to find out exactly what they should advertise to them. Conspiracy theorist? Maybe. But I know that when I do a Google search for something, I seem to see it on every web page I visit as an advertisement. Give me a break already. I was looking up My Little Pony for my daughter. But I digress. You can obviously see what apps I've allowed. Choose which ones you are comfortable with. Just to be clear, don't be a naive parent. There are many apps out there called skin apps. They might say calculator and or have that image, but when you open the calculator app and type in a specific numeric code, they allow access to many other things. Again, there is skin only. A vault of pictures you can't believe your kid would take or receive from others. Now that's for another video. I honestly don't even know how these work. Just know which apps you're allowing and that they are appropriate. Tap the back arrow to go back to the screen time page. Now we get to the crux of the conversation, the pièce de résistance. Tap Content and Privacy Restrictions. Make sure the toggle button is on. This is a virtual smorgasbord of choices for you. Feel free to explore, but for those of you who want to hit the easy button, I'll tell you exactly what to do. Tap iTunes and App Store purchases. I don't allow anything, and I always require a passcode. Tap the arrow button back to go to the previous screen. Tap Allowed Apps. These are the apps you will allow your child access to while downtime is not activated. What you see are the apps I will always allow. You might notice that I do not allow access to Safari. I sure don't. If my son wants to be on the internet, he can access it on the family computer downstairs in front of everyone. Ever see someone accessing smut out in the open? Me neither. That's why, at least for Max, Safari is dumped. Again, it's your choice. You're the parent. Do what is best for your child. For those of you who do want to allow limited access to certain websites, stay tuned. I'll cover that soon. Tap the back arrow. Now tap Content and Privacy Restrictions. Here's where we get serious. What I'm now going to do is go into the nitty-gritty, or as Nacho Libre would say, the nitty-gritty. You obviously see what I have here. I use the ratings for the United States and try to keep the music clean, identifying the profiles of music. I don't allow music or TV shows, and I only allow clean books. I allow all apps because the only apps on his phones are the ones that I have chosen. Tap Web Content. This could be the most important part of the whole video. This is how you are going to limit the use of Safari. As far as I know, you cannot remove Safari from iPhone. If you could, I would have done it. Feel free to comment below if there's a way that I can. Okay, put a blue check by allowed websites only. Then you can allow your child access to only your approved content. Again, I dumped Safari for Max because I'm confident that no matter what websites I do or don't allow, he would find a way to access the bad ones. You make the call. Let me quickly show you how that works. I allowed Safari just to show you how the allowed websites work if you choose to do that. We'll say I allowed Thomas the Train. However, 11-year-old Max hears about what was 20 years ago my equivalent to Girls Gone Wild. We'll call it Bad Girls in Sin. He tries to access that little stinker. Anyway, he can't access the website because it's not allowed. If he taps Allow Website, he will be prompted to enter the screen time password, which he won't know. Advantage Dad. Tap the back arrow. Moving down, I don't allow him to search the web, and obviously don't allow explicit language. Under Game Center, that's really your choice. I don't allow any games or adding friends for games. I really hate video games. Man, I can't tell you how much I hate video games. In fact, my son was treating us very poorly after only a couple months of 30 minutes per day with a video game called Surviv.io. I eliminated all my son's screen time use for 1 month. I saw a huge change in his attitude within about 2 weeks. No video games, no more. I do allow screen recording because as far as I know, there's no harm in that. After all, that did allow me to make this video. Tap the back arrow. Under privacy, I don't really have a problem allowing anything except advertising. I hate advertising. Turn that off. Under allow changes, I don't allow anything except volume limits. He can blow his ears out. I really don't care about that. Tap the back arrow. Tap the back arrow again to show the screen time main page. That's really all there is. I hope this has been succinct and helpful. There are many other videos that teach you to share screen time across devices. I don't love this feature, but you can definitely use it if you would like. I am praying God's encouragement, perseverance, and grace to everyone who watches this video. Our kids are worth it. They are the only true legacy that we will leave behind. For the parents, moms and dads who are watching this, here's my encouragement and admonition for you. Set up screen time on your own phone. Let your spouse set the passcode. My guess is that you're on the phone more than you should be. I know that was the case for myself and my wife. Setting up limits has been revolutionary in our relationship. Of course, we allow access to all the content that I allow my son and daughter to, but we restrict our screen time usage to 30 minutes per day. It helps us to focus on what's really important, communicating with and loving the family that has been placed around us. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope it helped. Have a terrific day.